All focused, Dave. Okay. I'm going to start this off reading you this really old Cherokee saying. And this kind of puts in a nice little compact little nutshell just what we're about. And every kid hears this when they're old enough to understand. No matter what you do, no matter how far you stray, no matter what time of day or night, this family is here for you. You are one of us, conceived of love from the very beginning of time. Your ancestors lived and fought each day so that today you would be here, now. You may get lonely, but you are never alone. Your ancestors know your name. Your father, your uncles, your mothers, your relatives know of you. They are with you always wherever you are. You represent us, the family, the clan, the tribe, the race to the world. A portion of all that was your ancestors is yours. A portion of all that are your relatives is yours. Your thoughts, your deeds, your words should always take this into account. You should love your clan as you would be loved yourself. Look about you. All that you survey is yours. The home of any one of these is your home. The food of any one of these is your food. The children are all your children. Anyone that you love, all of these also love, for surely you would not love someone unworthy of love. We love you, you are we, and we are you, and all together, old and newborn, living and dead, and yet to be born, we are family. We are love. No borders divide us, no judgment separates us, no man rules us. We are boundless and limitless. We are the sum total of love. Cool sentiment, huh? So what we're gonna, I'm gonna give a lesson before we go out here and continue on doing the sight for the fire, because we got to understand who and what we are, or at least have an idea of it, and what all is involved, and just how important it is what we're doing. And in order to do that, we got to delve into quote Cherokee culture. And the first thing we have to look at is that thing I read you that every Cherokee learns will not work unless you're kinfolk. Not just Cherokee society, but all Indian societies, and I suspect probably tribal societies around the world, are based on a kinship structure. It was so important to the Cherokee that if you weren't born a blood kin, you could be adopted. There was an adoption procedure so that everyone would be kin. The reason is that your relationship with a kinsman is entirely different from what it would be with an outsider. Cherokees, and I think tribal people in general, do not accept an outside definition of who and what they are. They do not accept the U.S. government's definition. They do not accept the European definition. They accept no definition but their own. And what they are kin. Everyone is kin. And until recently, and still it happens a lot on the reservation, there were people that lived their entire lifetimes without meeting anybody that was not a kinsman. Now, kin, of course, is based on family. Now, what we run into here is an entirely different definition of the term family. When you think of family, what do you think of? In the society we live in now, mother, father, children. And if there happens to be a grandparent in there somewhere, then we say extended family to show that there's a difference, that this isn't the same as the standard definition of family. Now, in not just Cherokee culture, but in the Indian world in general, family is, well, let's start with your father. Your father and your uncles, both sides, mom's and dad's side, are all your fathers. There's no separation between your biological father and your Uncle Joe. They're both your fathers. Your mother. That title includes all of her sisters, which would be your aunts. Are all your mother. All of them. Your grandfather is every male in the generation ahead of your fathers. Every male. Your grandmother, same thing. Every female in the generation ahead of your mother. They are all your grandmother. It's not your grandmother, dad's mother's, no. It's your grandmother, period. Your brothers and sisters are everyone in your generation, across the board, all of them. Me and Doug are brothers. We had different mothers. And if you get to looking in the American or the Anglo-Saxon relationship thing, I don't know, we're probably what, cousins, once removed or something, I don't know. We don't even keep track of that. We don't. If you ask us, how are your cousins, like, and we got to think about it. Because in our culture, we're brothers. Me and Bob Thomas. Now this blew my mind. Uncle Bob, fell into that category. He was older than me by 10 years. Thus, we were in the same generation. He was my brother. And he would have fell in that slot, what, 20 years? Yeah, a 20-year generational slot. We would have been brothers. Me and Vine Deloria, though we were constantly after each other's egos, were brothers because he decided to adopt me into his family, and as a reciprocation I had to adopt him into mine. I mean, I didn't have to, but it would have been rude not to. And so, when you look around here, where do we fit in this relationship? We're all brothers and sisters. How do you deal with a brother and sister as opposed to that? There's a world of difference. There's a world of difference in how we deal with each other. And it's very intimate type of relationship. And when I was going to college, and I ran across it somewhat in the military, but not so much, because in the military you become brothers just from common shared experience. And the fact I need to respect you because I need you to be there to help keep me alive. But in college, their main concern was, well, if it's this way, where's the individualism? That's a fair question. Because you remember the thing I started off reading from the society we live in, that makes you think, oh shit, we're communists. There is no individualism. These guys are socialists. Yeah, to a certain degree that's true. But here's the thing. In Indian cultures, not just Cherokee, is that a word? Inviolable?
Yep.
Individual was inviolable. You could not do anything to try and squelch or squash the individual. And the reason for that was where the identity of the individual came from. Now, in our society, it's been my experience watching people, their identity comes from their job, in Indian culture, not just Cherokee culture, Indian culture, your identity is fixed and set at birth. You come into this world whole and complete. All that we do as your kin is watch you unfold. And it is our responsibility to set up the environment so that you can discover what we already know. You have to be who and what you are. Now, we don't know at the moment of birth who and what you are. We have no idea. You're just another kinsman, another kinsperson. And we spend our lifetime watching you open up and become the flower that you are from that little seed that started the whole thing. And no one has the right, wouldn't even cross a true Indian's mind to try and tell you who and what you are. I mean, I had a horrible time in 6th grade because the school counselor asked me, so, what are you going to be when you grow up? And that question made entirely no sense to me. The only thing I'd come up with is bigger. Well, no. What kind of job are you going to get? What is it that you want to do? I don't know. I'll know when I get there. And that was just, that just horrified them. They wanted me to go home and talk it over with my parents and decide what I was going to be when I grew up so they could figure out what classes to send me to. My mom, she freaked. She got a call from school. She said, ah. My dad comes home from work. She tells him what's going on. And he said, don't worry about it. I'll call him tomorrow. Well, my experience with Dad is if he's going to call the school, I'm in deep shit. There's nothing good going to come out of this. I get called into the principal's office the next day. Oh boy, here we go. Your dad just called. What did he say? He said for us to leave you alone. When you get to the point of being what you're supposed to be, you'll go ahead and do it, and that may change 100 times during your lifetime, and that's just fine. And so, I'm thinking, yeah, Dad doesn't pull my ass out of the heat here. They decided, well, in that case, we better make him take every class we can think of.
That's a bitch.
And it worked out okay, but you know. And I'm giving you guys a real lesson here because this is all stuff I had to put together for my master's degree. Now, so we got a grasp, an idea of how this kinship thing works, right? You kind of got a little understanding of that.